Welcome to the Women in Leadership, Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Heather. Together, we are working to connect women in leadership and business to build relationships and empower each other, improving the health and wellness of our community, body, mind, and soul.
Good morning. Our very special guest today is Susan Otten from Indie Do Good. Good morning, Susan. How are you today?
Good morning. Hi, guys. I'm doing great.
Good. Susan is all the way from Minnesota, joining us on our very first Wednesday podcast. And Susan, I want you to go ahead and tell our listeners what it is Indie Do Good is and what they do. Tell us about yourself.
So Indie Do Good's mission is to help and support and champion small businesses that do good, whether it be inherently through the product or service that they offer, or some of the clients that we work with have a really strong philanthropic community orientation. So we don't really define do good. We let the companies do that, of course, themselves, but we do encourage companies. In fact, I'm pretty in your face vocal about what is the good that you are doing, because it's been said that entrepreneurs are the next generation of philanthropists. So we better figure this out. So this is great. And, you know, this podcast specifically targeting, you know, women as the audience. Women have such a heart for community and for doing good. So it's a very easy connection. It's, I don't feel like I really have to talk a whole lot about you should be doing good. You know, women just do good. Sometimes you have to kind of dial it back so you don't overdo the do good. You know, you
yeah. As women, and we're such caregivers as women. It's part of our nature and who we are. And granted, I understand that doesn't go for everybody, and that doesn't speak for everybody, but doing good and helping each other out and leaning into that community and building it is one of the foundations of many women-owned businesses. Now, tell us specifically, what does Indie Do Good do for businesses?
Okay, so we like to think of things in threes, three legs to the stool. Probably the biggest one in the way that most entrepreneurs join our ecosystem is through the exciting world of warehousing, shipping, logistics. We're a 3PL, which is short for third-party logistics company, and we target smaller businesses that are growing, and either they want to quit shipping out of their own garage or their own living room, or they've grown so big that they don't have the systems capabilities anymore to support like large wholesalers. So we kind of meet them where they're at. But I always say to every entrepreneur I meet, I've never met an entrepreneur yet or a founder that their core competency is shipping a box. I mean, really, is this the best thing you could be doing for your company to grow your company? And they'll say, oh, but it's easy. You know, I just do it at night when I'm watching TV with the kids. And I stop them right there and say, okay, but you should be watching TV with your kids, not shipping a box, right? And you know, that's one thing entrepreneurs are always on. And I read a great article recently about scale, and there's always work to do. I mean, check your inbox. Let's see. Let's do that. Let's practice what I preach. 1,125 emails in my inbox. You know, and every once in a while I go to the bottom and just delete a few thousand of them or a few hundred of them. But, you know, there's always work to do. There's always fires to be put out. And this article was talking about just put out the fires that are really going to burn the house down. You know, there's always going to be fires, but you have to prioritize and pick and choose. So
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love that.
We also do marketing. We think entrepreneurs really, once they get to know us and we get to know them, we have marketing services that can help, whether it be, you know, branding, brand standards. Oh, but Cousin Joe did my logo and I really like Cousin Joe. And it's like, but do you love your logo? and is it working for you, and things like that. And are you doing social media the right way? Things like that. Are you getting traction out of the money that you're spending? Because it's a really crowded, noisy space now. And that's one thing that COVID has done for us, is created a lot of competition in the online world. And then the third part of the stool, the third leg of the stool, is engineering. We meet a lot of entrepreneurs that have identified a problem in the market, that they have figured out a way that can solve it. So if it's a widget, a CPG, a tangible object, we can help them engineer that. Because just because you've come up with an idea doesn't mean you're a design engineer or a manufacturing engineer or a supply chain expert, which we'll talk more about supply chain, I think. Lots of challenges in the supply chain world. And if you can figure out a way how to make your product easier, faster, cheaper, and using professional engineers to do that, you're going to take cost out over the lifetime of the product, and maybe even help to figure out ways to solve some of these supply chain issues at the beginning as you're designing your product and getting it ready for market.
Now, does that include helping people like get their product patented, licensed, all that good stuff?
There's two areas where we don't dabble. One is legal, and the other is really finance. We don't want to, we'll give advice and things like that, but most of what we do is refer to people we know do a really good job of that.
Oh,
and
perfect.
So that's where we divide things. But I always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I know a lot of people. So I'd rather go deep into the areas where we're expert, and then pass off to people that are expert in other areas where we're not. But at the end of the day, we really love our clients to think of us as the easy button. Because if they have a problem that they need helping solve, especially because we're kind of broad in what we offer, from shipping to marketing to design and engineering and sourcing manufacturers, if you have a question, bounce it off us. If we don't know the answer, I'm pretty sure we probably know somebody who does. So we like to create this really nice world of support for entrepreneurs, which is what differentiates us with traditional warehousing and logistics. I was just talking to someone right before this meeting, and she said, there's not a human I can talk to there. And it's like, oh, that sounds like Amazon. You've got all these problems and how to fix things, but there's not a human you can talk to. You can go through their FAQ, you can input a ticket, you can do all this stuff, but you can't talk to a human being. And, you can talk to us anytime. In fact, I kind of get in trouble at the company because I'm giving away all this free advice, but it's just, I want to help people. And so that's really what we try to do, is build client relationships that go really deep. We want them to succeed. It's no secret that if they succeed, we're going to succeed too. So we want our clients to be really super successful. And then by the design of their company, they'll do more good too. So it really works well.
Right. So my next question for you is I understand you've done a lot of things. Why this specifically? Why indie do good? What is the heart of it? And what is your passion behind it for you specifically?
That's a great question. I love the why questions. Simon Sinek's got it right. Start with the why.
I love him so much.
Around the country bunch. And when we decided to come back to our home state of Minnesota, it gave us an opportunity to pause and kind of rethink what we wanted to do with our careers. Our kids were off in college and playing sports, and we came back home. And the idea of going into another corporate job, it just didn't seem that appealing. Both my husband and I had amazing careers, and that's continuing, I guess, not past tense, but that really, do I want to go get another job? And I did when we first came back, but then we also bought a business because we decided that we could do more good. I was really, 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 really blessed to work for Apple Computer for 15 years. And I Apple is a great company, very entrepreneurial, and they're very generous with salary and stock options. And we could have retired and probably just done good by donating stuff to different organizations and things like that. But it's kind of like teaching someone to fish. If we can help others do good, it's kind of this multiplier effect. And we could provide services. My husband and I both have very different careers. Mine was the marketing stuff, his is the engineering stuff. And then we bought a warehouse and an Amazon reseller. So we know the world of Amazon, and we help clients grow their business through Amazon. But the why really was to figure out a way we could do more good. And the way we determined to do that is really by helping more people do more good. If we just did good by ourselves, that's, and there's a great initiative out there, the power of one, and make wise choices in everything that you do. But if we could get that kind of philanthropic spirit, mission of doing good, everybody cares passionately about something, just tie it to your business and do something about what you're passionate about. With your business as well as with your personal life and finances.
Awesome.
Oh, love it.
Okay.
So much.
So we've talked a little bit about your story, your why. We've talked a little bit about what kind of products and services you offer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any upcoming news or events, any specials coming up? We understand the holidays are upon us, and it's time to start planning ahead for those holiday needs.
Yeah, I did want to mention being ahead this opportunity, and the timing is so perfect. And thank you guys for getting this word out quickly. There's a lot that we've learned in the logistics business, and I'm going to focus on that mostly, a little bit on marketing. Engineering is more of a long-term play. So, we've got the holidays that are looming. Dun, 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 dun. I feel it's like, Jaws, it's coming. And it's really important for consumer products companies. They do a lot of sales in this, at Apple, we called it Q1 because we wanted to start the year off strong. So we didn't follow the calendar year. We followed our fiscal calendar when this is Q1. For most people, this is Q4. They're going to end the year strong. But there's a lot of challenges out there now. People that were able to swivel quickly in 2020 from brick and mortar sales to digital really reaped the benefits of that. Well, now we've had over a year of reaping the benefits of that. And, if you've got any possible way you can sell online, people are doing that. I mean, I always thought the last bastion was food. Who the heck is going to buy lettuce online, And we've even proven, we've busted that myth.
Right, fresh produce, but it's a thing.
I didn't even think of that.
My husband has got lots of allergies, and COVID was really scary for them. And grocery stores were identified as one of the really creepiest areas, for contracting the virus. And so she, from the very beginning, was ordering online. I'm like, how does that even work? And then you learn how it works, because if you do go in the grocery store, you see all these shoppers running around in the lockers and the bins where there's, storing stuff and
touching everything.
yeah, really. So I think this year is going to be really interesting. And what we've discovered now is the big challenge is supply chain and getting your products or your ingredients or your components to build your products. And, might be a little bit too late for that, but never say too late. There's, in fact, I just, I ran across, this is so uncanny, so weird, or divine, I guess. I ran across a, let's see, it's an Inc. article that talked about not only the challenges with supply chain. They touch on it in their article, but it was published, I think, yesterday. It's called "Inflation Isn't Going Away Just Yet, How Businesses Have to Respond." And they start, their subline is, amid supply chain woes, increasing prices may be an inevitability. but it isn't the only strategy that will help you offset higher costs. So it's trying to help business owners, offset these costs. The challenge is that inflation is about at a 5% rate right now, which doesn't sound like a lot, but we've had 2% on average inflation for the last decade, 10 years. So, I mean, that's more than double that 2%. I don't do math, but 2 is a lot bigger, or is a lot smaller than 5. And so how are you going to address that? Because a lot of it impacts your costs.
Right.
So are you going to raise your prices? How are you going to raise your prices? How much are you going to raise your prices? And then the supply chain, supply chain is one thing. The logistics.
So there's
is
a lot of
another.
factors involved in all the parts. Yeah.
Totally.
So,
totally. And then the other piece of that is.
Well, wait,
Go ahead. I was just saying, one is getting your product ready, and then it's the other challenge right now is getting your product to your consumer, your customer. And with the holiday looming and so many people buying.
Logistics is a big issue.
It's huge, yeah. And that's kind of our area of expertise. And our biggest recommendation is encourage your customers to shop early. We called it at Apple FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And you don't want to be a gloom and doomsday person, but it's fear. You should really change it. It should be fear, certainty, and doubt. I am totally certain that I will be fearful that my product will get to my customer in time. I really doubt that it will unless I do something different. So FUD, we'll have to come up with a new acronym because it's a challenge. And we know that it's a challenge anyway, the closer you get to the holiday, because people it gets busier and the trucks get fuller, and there's only, the other problem that's going on now is labor shortage. So there's only so many truck drivers available. And so the more you can do to move your customers earlier in the buying cycle and get them to buy now, like, I'm trying to think which, Target, I love Target. Target is a US based company. We love Target. They're not doing Black Friday sales anymore. They've been doing deals like daily deals all month long. And so, like, are there things that you can do? Start, they say what the highest form of flattery is to copy somebody. I'm not saying the saying right, but you get the idea.
Right. Or referrals, right?
Yeah. That look and see who are doing things that you can knock off. I love stealing ideas, borrowing. No, I'm not going to give back the idea. I love stealing ideas.
I like it.
No, like
better and making it better. There's always ways for improvement. And somebody that's got a good idea, they just keep doing the good idea. But if you take a good idea and then make it better and make it fit your business model, cha-ching, it works great, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to make the wheel better. Put a chrome hub in it, or
make it shiny.
Make it shiny. Spiff it up, make it shiny. So Susan, so from what I'm hearing from you is, if you plan on shipping products and things for the holidays, you should start pushing those sales or those items now, so that they can in turn promote that push and get things out and to the people's doors in time for the holidays.
I think you said really good was like, I'd rather have it sitting there November 15th than worrying about it getting there by December 25th, right? Or whatever your special day is, like, And
like, the only thing I'd caution on what you said, Charlie, was sales. Again, go back to that inflation number.
Right.
I'm not sure I would do a lot of sales. I might do incentives like buy 5, get 1 half off. or, maybe not even BOGOs, but things that you can do to enhance your product with product, because that cash is cash. When you drop the price, or it might be a coupon to buy in the future from you.
Mhm.
Coupons are great because the redemption rate, just think about all the coupons that you clip. I mean, I have a
that you never use, right?
full of coupons. Do I ever use those coupons? Every time I get the little coupon flyer, I'm like, ooh, but I never use them. But so coupons are great, and or even put a coupon in the box, or a QR code, or it's something you guys can figure, the client can figure out, or these companies can figure out how they want to do it. But I really would caution on discounting your product, because your costs are probably going up. Shipping is most certainly going up. Having cutoff dates for shipping, we can only guarantee delivery if you order by, I haven't even looked at the calendar yet. December. Give yourself, 2 weeks is not unreasonable, because what ends up happening, good old Amazon has taught us that shipping should be free. Shipping is never free. Somebody has to pay for it. If your customers,
it's either added to the price of the product or it's separate.
And then it's so uncertain because it's so dynamic right now. So, and if you have to, the closer you get to the holiday, if you have to pay for like 2-day or overnight, or, and another tip for shipping, overnight does not mean overnight when you're getting close to the holiday. And if you look at the fine print, they do not guarantee an overnight delivery, unless you're paying big bucks, for that shipment. So really, really watch your shipping rates the closer you get. So really what you need to do is pull your business earlier. And that means now. If you're not thinking about how to get your Christmas orders placed by Thanksgiving, start, even
great.
We have entrepreneurs that they'll stamp something on the outside of the box that's, and you could make it fun. You could put your logo on it, get a rubber stamp. Like in our warehouse, we'll stamp things, or we have special stickers we'll put on, and it'll say, don't open till Christmas, with your logo. Merry Christmas, or Merry whatever, happy whatever, in, don't open until then. Be smart and fun and build your brand around this. It's customers appreciate companies that help them be successful, whatever that might be.
Right. Thank you so much, Susan.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is a lot of really, really good information. And if anybody would get a hold of you and follow up and ask those questions, how would they do that?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and give you my email address. And so it's Susan, really easy, Susan at Indie Do Good. And it's not like the Indy 500 with a Y, it's INDIE. dogood.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Susan. And I will also have your contact information in the description.
Perfect.
For like that. So thank you so much, Susan, for joining us. And I hope you join us in our discussion as we move forward.
Definitely.
Wow, that was
really good. Thank you so much.
Really
I'm learning so much more about business. I loved this conversation with you, Susan. I'm really excited because we are helping businesses on all different levels, and to even think of first, I need to look up and see the horizon at the end of the year, what's happening. With that in mind, let's go ahead and talk Miss the warrior. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to mention, I don't want to forget the technology and the service businesses too. And they can certainly do good. I know I've talked a lot about CPG or widgets and stuff like that. Your customers love you to help them solve their problems too and be successful. And I think some of this, what we've talked about, can translate, I had a client that said, you know, I guess I mentioned they couldn't talk to a human. If you have a service, make it easy for them to get a hold of you and understand this, you know, the services that you offer. I don't want to ignore the services and the
Having
technology.
the high level of customer service during this time, just respecting our clients,
Mhm.
whether it's a service or a bit, you know, an actual product, they're still talking to people and remembering that everybody has stress, everybody has things going. We often mention the book, The Four Agreements. Don't pick up what somebody else has put down, like let them have a minute, you know, hold a little space for them to take a breath. Speaking of taking a breath, that would be a great transition to warrior yoga. Charlie is going to do us a little reading, but first we're going to go ahead and take some deep breaths. Charlie's going to lead us in that.
All right, let's take a minute and pause and think about what all that good information Susan gave us. Slow down your breath. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. Let's take a few nice, slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Get settled, focusing on my voice. If you are driving and you would like to pull over and stop for just a few minutes, this meditation is about 5 minutes long. Continue focusing on the breath as I begin to read. Our meditation today is from Practicing Mindfulness by Matthew Sockolov. We're going to do chapter 1, meditation 1, finding the breath. The body is always breathing, and the breath is constantly moving. Your breath is not only the best place to start, it's a constant you can return to anytime you need a little centering. In this practice, you will gently find the breath in the body. There's nothing to figure out, there are no problems to solve, and there's nothing special you need to do. Constantly return to your direct experience of the body breathing. You are training the mind to be with one experience without distraction. Finding a comfortable position for the body, sitting is often recommended as it helps the body be awake and energized. You can also try lying flat on your back or standing. You may sit on a yoga mat, meditation cushion, or a chair. Find what feels comfortable and sustainable for a few minutes of stillness. As long as you are not driving, gently allow the eyes to close. If you're more comfortable with the eyes open, try softly gazing at the floor or ceiling, depending on your position. Allow the eyes to relax and rest on one spot. The idea is to minimize distractions in your practice. Bring your awareness to the abdomen, relaxing the muscles there. See if you can feel the natural rising and falling. Imagine the body is breathing itself. From the navel around to the obliques, notice the movement with each breath. Take a few breaths, deep breaths, just like this. Move your awareness up to the chest. As you inhale, tune in to the expansion of the lungs and the rising of the chest. As you exhale, feel the contraction and movement. See if you can follow the feeling of the breath from the beginning of your inhalation through the end of your exhalation. Now bring your attention to the nostrils. The feeling of the breath may be more subtle here. Try taking a deep breath to see what is present for you. You may notice a slight tickle at the tip of the nose as you breathe in. You may notice the breath is slightly warmer on the way out. Rest your awareness on the body breathing in one of these three spots. When the mind wanders, continue to observe the breath for a few more breaths. Wrapping up this period of practice, bring this awareness with you into your daily life. Stay in touch with the breath in your body to help the mind remain present. The wandering mind. The natural tendency of the mind is to wander. Even the most accomplished meditators have wandering minds. The brain was designed to process information. It is just doing its job. Rather than seeing this as a problem, approach it. Try to bring forgiveness, curiosity, and patience to these moments. And whenever your mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. Continue focusing on the breath. Take a couple more nice, slow, deep breaths. And I'm going to transition directly into our reading for today from The Secret Power of Yoga, a women's guide to the heart and spirit of the Yoga Sutras. Again, we are on chapter 1, Humble Beginnings. With humility, an open heart and mind, we embrace the sacred study of yoga. That is the first sutra. This simple beginning holds many truths. Often, this very first sutra is read quickly or even disregarded, which is unfortunate since this sutra is placed first to set the tone. It is here to remind us that our study and spiritual path benefit most when they are paved generously with humility. Developing an open heart and mind. As students of life, we often need to look at where we have come from to see where we are going. I was always enthralled by the subway in Paris. At each station, a giant board helps you find your way. A little arrow indicates where you are, and the push of a button, you select your destination. As the destination registers, voila, a path lights up. The most efficient way to path were that clear and simple. Our present position has been determined by the past. All those crossroads where we made decisions, each path as it is. We might be able to understand how we got where we are, but what would it have been like if other options had been followed? Another choice could have radically changed the present. Perhaps we took the tried and true course because it seemed easiest or safest. Perhaps at the time, it just didn't seem like there was any alternative. Quote from Lord Buddha, "What you are is what you have been. What you will be is what you do now." Occasionally, we meet someone who took an uncharted route, one less established. What in her life led her to become a trailblazer? What inspired her to leave behind the beaten path? The found path may have brought great adventure or great peril. Most of us are content to know that our adventures. Very few of us want to risk our comfort. Custom and tradition play a major part in shaping our lives. We are so embedded in them that unless we are repeatedly shown a different way, we tend to live out our days under their sway. We always have yams for Christmas. Why do you want to change tradition this year and have mashed white potatoes? This tendency toward inaction and stasis can be difficult to overcome. But being creative and trying something different can be exciting and can expand your horizons. If it is carried beyond what is understood, it can cause rejection. Not wanting to offend, we may choose to reject the new idea that might have brought us renewed happiness and expansion. Most of us in modern societies are very blessed. We are literate and have books and resources. Sacred texts can be downloaded from the internet. But even though they are so easily accessible, it is important to have the same regard and reverence for these sacred teachings as in times before. I'm going to stop our reading there today. We'll read the other half of chapter 1 next week. But let's go ahead and talk about that for a minute, because I think there's a lot of power in what that said. So
I really like the quote from Buddha. What you do now is what you will be. I think that when we're talking like about vision boards and things, we're always trying to like get people to do now what they need to be doing to be the person they want to be. And I think that really summed it up. Like that's really good. And I really like the idea of even having those discussions about changing a holiday tradition. It's so it can be disorientating, but this is a time I think that families are finding new traditions, so it's a really good time to talk about that. And when we're disrupting something like the food you eat, you're actually changing the memories of it. So if you are coming from someplace with lots of trauma around holidays, you could actually create a different experience for your family by changing some of those things. I was like, that's super powerful. Like, wow.
Yeah. And it kind of plays back into the book I'm currently listening to on Audible, The Power of Habit, right? We create these habits, and these habits run so deep that they become traditions, right? That's how traditions happen. It's, you know,
grandma cut off the ends of the roast because it wouldn't fit in the pan, but everybody cuts off the ends of the roast, right? We don't know why. She did it to fit it in the pan she had, not because you should
not
cut
because
the
it
ends.
made it taste better, right?
Right.
So these things that have become traditions in our lives, it's okay to have the discussions and talk about changing things, because you want to make sure that your traditions and what you carry on for yourself and your family is in alignment with where you're going in that direction, right?
Do you have anything you would like to say, Susan?
Oh, gee, there was a lot there. Yeah, I like that same quote. I mean, it makes you just, anything that makes me kind of stop and pause is something that I think is speaking to my heart. It's so funny. Like, I have an app that yells at me if I'm not breathing. And, you know, and it works. Like if I'm so stressed and tense that I'm not, I mean, I'm breathing, but I'm not breathing the way I should be, it yells at me. And, you know,
we understood what you meant.
Yeah. And that whole thing about distractions, I was listening to a series.
Aww,
perfect timing.
perfect.
Speaking of distractions.
But I was listening to a podcast that was about meditation and distractions. And I love that you said, you know, everybody has them. And that's kind of the message of this one too, is that don't beat yourself up over it. You know, meditation is so good, even if you can do a minute of breathing. It's so I think it's
Hi, sweetheart.
Yeah. What do you want to do? What?
Yeah, absolutely. It is super beneficial to work with in your alignment. And I wanted to go back just a second and talk about those trailblazers, the people that change it up. So in my family specifically, up until my mom went to college when I was in middle school. And up until that point, there hadn't been any other women in our family who have gone to college. But by my mom going to college when I was growing up and me watching her go through that and working multiple jobs in order to make that happen and everything else, it wasn't a big deal for me when I went back to college with 2 little kids. You know, she went back to college with 4. I went back to college with 2.
Right.
And that showed me,
makes it easier.
Yeah, it
because
showed
you've
me that
seen
I
her.
could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it. It is possible.
Do you remember the days when we could work full-time jobs and go to school full-time and raise our kids all at the same time? Like,
Yeah.
it's too much. Now I'm like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, I don't envy those moms that are at that point. Like,
And that's where a lot of us, as women entrepreneurs, women in business, we are trailblazers. We're changing the way things are done.
right.
We're changing the way things are done. How business traditionally worked is no longer the case. You know, again, the pandemic changed things in the way people work. There's a lot more people working from home now than there ever was before. A lot more companies are going to more of a business, a remote business model, because they've seen how not only does it benefit their employees, because their employees, you know, they're not spending money on commuting, they're not spending more money on childcare. A lot of them can take care of their kids and work from home and actually be a bigger part of their family than they've ever been able to do before. And a lot of people, because of that, don't necessarily want to go back to an office. That's all in this like trailblazing thing that everybody's
That's kind
figuring
of like
it out.
The big thing in the air right now. Like
Right?
everything is kind of up in the air. Everybody feels that right now.
And
Everywhere we go, we're seeing hiring signs in our local area.
And they say that up in the airness, that ambiguity, uncertainty is the number one stressor. I mean, you can pretty much deal with a whole lot of bad news better than you can deal with not knowing, because then your mind just, you know, thinks it's maybe worse than it's going to be, or maybe that thing will never happen, but that ambiguity is so hard to deal with. So, and I love that what you're saying about the companies are
right. And there's 2 different ways to look at that ambiguity. You either use it as a launch pad to project yourself further, or you get stuck.
Right. Are you in your own head listening to all those thoughts, or are you actually taking steps towards a direction?
And then it comes back to our conversation about intelligence basically states that what you put out in the world, you will receive back. It's like karma, but it's bigger than that, because, you know, the type of energy you put out in the world is the type of energy you're going to get back. So if you put negative energy, negative thoughts, woe is me, this is the worst thing ever, that's what you're going to get in return. If you put out, you know what, everything's haywire, but I'm going to keep going forward, I'm going to keep moving forward, I'm going to stay positive, guess what? You reap those rewards from staying positive, and from you know, just continuing that positive light and sharing that light with others. You get that light reflected back to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're making sense. Absolutely. I totally feel you. If you got into your little
if you guys
there,
have any questions, just, you know,
I was like, look at all the yoga experience coming out. I was like she just shining.
Okay, speaking of yoga, animation is I'm currently doing private consults. I have some time available. Contact me via email at warrioryogastanwood@gmail.com, on Facebook at warrioryogastanwood, or give me a call or text at 425-501-9271 if you are interested in doing a personal one-on-one consult. And we can do them like here in my studio, or over Zoom. So whichever works best for you, whichever makes you feel safe and comfortable. I think that is key. And then I love working with people and their bodies in one-on-one basis. Everybody. So go ahead and contact me if you would like some more info on that. And then I am going to introduce Heather's got some wellness tips for us today.
So I'm a wellness ambassador, and why? Because nourishing our bodies with vitamins and minerals is needed every day, and it's challenging. Not all supplements are created equal. It's hard to discern some things, and our food isn't what it was 50 years ago. You would have to eat about 10 apples to get the same nutrients you used to get from an apple. So like, our nutrients just aren't the same as they used to be. So, but wellness is so much more than just supplements. So today I just wanted to talk about some tips just for overall wellness. My first tip is movement. If we're moving, literally when we talk about, I feel like from the 80s, get up and move 10 minutes, morning, noon, and night, let's do it. I feel like Jane Fonda, like get the workout out, right? No, but just getting up and moving and getting your blood circulation going, there is a really key factor to how our body processes things. And if we're not moving it and getting our blood circulating, we're not getting things pumped around that our body needs. So any metabolic disease process starts from not being in movement. Everything needs movement. So I recommend 3 times a day. I love to walk my dog. I miss this part from healing, but it helps me to get up and, here I have a reason to go for a walk. So I love that. I love my little dog for that reason. My second tip is hydration. The average recommendation is 8 ounces or 8-ounce glasses of water. Is that I don't even know what the recommendation air quotes is.
Well,
okay, so
it's about a gallon a day per person, but there's some math involved depending on how much
to kind of figure it out.
out.
You want to like take half your body weight and put that into ounces, and then kind of figure, that's kind of some of the math you should figure out to see if you're getting enough fluids. And that's water, but you also want to be making sure you're getting electrolytes. So hydration, even a mild dehydration, can cause a lot of fatigue. And especially this time of year, you don't think about that. Like it's not super sunny and nice. You're not thinking, oh, I'm hot, I need to drink a glass of water, when your body could be craving it. Other signs of dehydration can be chapped lips. You're too late. You're already dehydrated. Another one is headaches can actually be a sign of dehydration. Sometimes you need the glass of water more than you need the medication to help you with that. And then my last thing I want to talk about is some sleep. If we're not getting good rest and making sure we take time, especially as entrepreneurs and moms and all the hats that we wear, if we're not making sure we take the time to get that good sleep, we're not going to be able to show up the way we want to. So if you're having some sleep struggles, some things I love, we have a friend that actually taught himself to go to sleep in 7 minutes, like so freaking amazing. So that led me on a journey to look a little bit more into some of the things he was telling me about that he did. And I love going onto YouTube. I have YouTube Premium, so I don't have the ads pop up. I think I would find that annoying if I if I didn't. But I think Pandora has some, Audible has some, just putting on kind of a sleep meditation, something that's going to be really calming to you. So some people, that's a lightning storm with rain. Other people, it's waves. So I really enjoy that part. I have some up and coming events, but I can't talk about them yet. So stay tuned. There's some
Woohoo,
exciting
fun
things going on
stuff.
in my world. If you want to talk to me or give me a call, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. My link tree is in our contact information, and my phone number. You can call or text me. Texting is probably better. 360-722-9104.
Yeah. And this is also super
Ooh.
important coming into the fall and winter seasons to be able to take care of ourselves. That hydration and the movement and the sleep is going to help you fight that seasonal depression.
Right.
Okay. So here in the Pacific Northwest, it basically starts raining in like usually September, November. It's actually been really dry lately, even though it rains the last 3 days. But
we got a reminder of what our
normally
it's to be here.
cold and dark and rainy from the time school starts until the times the kids get out of school, right? Late April, May into June, often it's dreary, but when the sun's out, the mountains are out, and it's beautiful. So
that's what we always say, the mountains are out.
The mountains are out today. So taking care of yourself, making sure you get that movement with the movement and the sleep, yoga and meditation, and then the hydration part, just look at what you're drinking. Maybe you're drinking something all day long that is coffee, and that's probably dehydrating me, but I also have a cup of water handy that I can keep myself hydrated with. So after I'm done with my cup of coffee for the morning, I'll drink water. Pretty much the little tip. I want you guys to fight that seasonal depression.
The hydration. If you're having trouble getting water, I recommend you only drink water.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for a couple of days. You can start. The first time I did it for a month, where I took a challenge where I only drank water. Mm-hmm. So no coffee, no soda, no energy drinks. Mm-hmm. I was so sick that first week. It was a great detox thing to do for my health. Discovering that I enjoy just a few cups of water. It's absolutely awesome. Mm-hmm. Did you have anything you would like to say, Susan? It looked like you were trying to say something.
Yeah, I was wondering, what about green tea? Is that a dehydrator like caffeinated beverages are? Or but then you said you do the just water. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't bring up green tea. But I was just curious if
caffeine, but no, it has so many other good things in it. The green tea, I would have to do some research to actually answer that honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know, we would just write it down.
Yeah, I just write it down. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Hydration in general, you want to just drink just plain, regular, nothing added water, because anything you then add to the water changes it.
Well, drinking a full gallon of water, you're actually flushing your body and flushing out your electrolytes. Mm-hmm. So then there's a whole conversation we should have about electrolytes and salt intake and quality salt versus in-quality salt. I didn't mean to open up this bag of worms. Right. So I would say, I recommend, if you are increasing your water, that you make sure you're getting electrolytes. Mm-hmm. And one of the best ways to get electrolytes is to get a really high quality salt. And I really, really like this company called Redmond Sea Salt. Mm-hmm. They use the salt from the Great Salt Lake, and they so the Great Salt Lake has our body's needs. So that salt is absolutely amazing for us. So I actually ordered a container of it on Amazon, and I've given like half of it away. It lasts a long time, because you're aware that, and then when I'm putting it on my food, I actually take a moment and like, I am really nourishing my body with this. I'm nourishing my family with this. It just really makes me feel good about the food that I'm putting out for my family, because then I'm giving them, I know what I'm giving is good food.
Right.
Does that make sense?
And then if anybody has any questions about hydration, electrolytes, any of that stuff, please, please, please consult with your doctor. We are not medical professionals. We don't claim to be. We have learned a few things that work for ourselves and our bodies. And we've worked with different types of products and things, so we can answer questions around that realm. But if you are concerned about your health,
and I would be
in
happy
general,
to
please talk to your
share
doctor.
with anybody some of the salt research I've done. I love Dr. Mark Hyman. He is absolutely fabulous. I listen to his podcast, drops a couple times a week, and he has a YouTube channel full of information. I really love listening to him. So I'm going to go ahead and transition us into how Charlie and I met, which I still can't believe has only just been a little bit ago. Really connecting and working together. We work with the October Company, which is a family-owned and operated insurance brokerage. As a family, we've decided everyone needs access to options that provide assurance for themselves and their families and their communities. We work with business owners to provide benefit packages that will fit any level of need for families, single parents, businesses, owners, and their employees. We are helping our community be covered. Right now is open enrollment. So in every state has a state exchange. Here in Washington, ours it's open. It's a universal. It's across the U.S. It's open enrollment season. So if you are a business owner and you don't have benefits, this is the time to get enrolled in benefits at your state exchange. In Washington, we can help you do that. So, and if not, we can find you somebody that can. So feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to do that. Up and coming events, we have a out of the box late lunch on Friday, November 19th at 4 p.m. at Sal Brewery. And so we're just getting together for a little over an hour, having a couple drinks and chatting about business and having a lot of fun, because Charlie and I planned it. So
their food is amazing. I'm super looking forward to it. So this out of the box lunch, we specifically, but we're not limiting it, want to connect with businesses that aren't your average corporate type business. We want to reach, we want to make sure our whole community is covered. That includes, salons, barbershops, cannabis shops, bars, breweries, coffee stands, everybody and every small business is covered, and make sure their people are taken care of if anything were to happen.
So we've been just growing a great group to connect with, and we're on Facebook, so you can find us there. Our core cause of the month is our local food bank here in Stanwood, but I would encourage everyone to reach out to their local food bank and see what they could do to help.
Yeah. And then if you are having trouble getting a hold of a food bank and you would still like to donate, we are currently accepting donations for the Arlington, Marysville, and Stanwood food banks. And our Venmo link is in the description for this podcast. And then last but not least, I'd like to thank today's sponsors, Warrior Yoga, Heather Ross, Wellness Ambassador, the October Company, and our very special guest, Susan Otten with Indie Do Good. Thank you so much for joining us, Susan. And then one more special thank you to HEMA Forge Virtual Gaming for our new toys.
Special shout out.
Very special shout out. We've got a brand new professional mic and headset. So let us know what you think of our new sound quality. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, HEMA Forge.
Be sure to follow us on social media at Women in Leadership BSMB, and listen to us on Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, Google Podcasts, and any other carriers. If you have a favorite podcast place we're not, please let us know. We're trying to get everywhere.
If you are interested in being part of our podcast, please email us at womeninleadershipbsmb@gmail.com. We'll send you the information on the next steps and set an appointment for a pre-podcast meeting. We're looking forward to connecting and building relationships with more community leaders locally and around the world.
Thank you for joining us today on the Women in Leadership Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. We'll see you next time.
Namaste.